The present progressive in Spanish is the English version of verbs ending in ing, or as they're formally called, infinitives. Infinitives are verbs that are placed after already conjugated verbs, and so they don't change or slightly get modified. With the present progressive, if you want to use the verb to talk, you would say I am talking, by adding an ing to the infinitive. I is the subject, am is the conjugated verb to be for the I pronoun, and talking is the infinitive that gets the ing added to it. Both in English and Spanish, the present progressive indicates that an action is being done right now, which means that there is progress happening in the present. However, the ing version of English looks different in Spanish. At first, if you want to start a sentence in the present progressive in Spanish, you would begin by saying yo estoy, which means I am. Estoy is actually an irregular conjugation of the yo pronoun said from the verb estar, which means to be. There are different conjugations for this verb with different pronouns, but the topic of this verb is for a future video. In Spanish, you have verbs ending in ar, er, and ir, but their infinitive version of the present progressive is actually quite easy to remember. For verbs ending in ar, you would want to remove the ending of the verb and then add the ending ando. Using the verb hablar in the present progressive, you would say yo estoy hablar, remove the ending, and then add ando as the ending of the infinitive. So this way, you get yo estoy hablando, which means I am speaking. The same principle applies to the rest of the pronouns and any infinitive that you want to use. But keep in mind that there are 6 different conjugations for the verb estar, which apply to their corresponding pronouns. And as I said again, the verb estar is for a future video. For verbs ending in er and ir, remove the ending of the verb and then add the ending iendo. Using comer and vivir in the present progressive, you would say yo estoy comiendo and yo estoy viviendo, which is I am eating and I am living. The same principle applies to the rest of the pronouns and any infinitive that you want to use, but once again, remember to use the right conjugation of each pronoun. At last, you might encounter a few exceptions in Spanish where modifying some infinitives might require a bit more modification to make the verb sound better when spoken. For instance, you might see the verb leer, which means to read, and you would want to say yo estoy leyendo, but this would be a mistake in Spanish because Spanish has a rule that says you cannot have 3 vowels next to each other, so you have to modify one of them with a consonant to eliminate the repetitive pronunciation when the word is said. So instead of saying leyendo, you would say yo estoy leyendo, which means I am reading, and the same concept applies to any pronoun you want to use. You might also find this verb, dormir, which means to sleep, and you would want to say yo estoy dormiendo, but because dormir is a stem changing verb, you have to change the stem of the verb to make its pronunciation sound better. So instead of saying yo estoy dormiendo, you would say yo estoy durmiendo, which means I am sleeping. And the same idea applies to the rest of the pronouns. There is, however, another stem changing verb in Spanish, like decir, which means to say. You would want to say yo estoy diciendo, but Spanish says that you have to change the stem of the verb to make it sound better. So instead of saying diciendo, you would say yo estoy diciendo, which would mean I am saying, and once again, the same principle applies to the rest of the pronouns. This has been the present progressive in Spanish. Thank you for watching this video, and hopefully I made your learning just a bit simpler.